time to pick a fight. But first, a little bit of explanation for international viewers. First, Australia's political system. It's a Westminster-style parliamentary democracy. We don't have a president. The government is formed by who has the most representatives in the parliament. Basically, someone represents your local area, you go out, you vote, person with the most votes, basically, gets to represent your areas. There are, of course, these representatives all around the country. Whichever political party has the most representatives gets to form government. The head of that party automatically becomes Prime Minister. That position's decided within the party. We don't vote for Prime Minister, we vote for individual politicians. Biggest party forms government, their boss is Prime Minister. Second point, the stolen generations. You may have heard reference to the stolen generations in Australia and saying sorry. What that basically means is there was an ongoing policy of Australian governments for quite a long time that involved Aboriginal children, mainly mixed race Aboriginal children, being taken away from their families. There's open argument as to whether this was all done in good faith, all done in bad faith, some in good faith, some in bad faith, but the people who were the victims themselves, the Aboriginal people, a sizable proportion say they were taken away from their families unwillingly, treated like shit, felt like their identity was taken away, caused a lot of problems. Now, there have been calls for a long time for some sort of formal, if symbolic, apology, saying sorry to the indigenous Australians for the policy that resulted in the children being taken away. Now, the Conservative governments that have had power for a long time refused to do it. The last election, which was in 2007, saw a change of power. The long-serving Conservative government, headed by John Howard, lost. Badly. The incoming Labor government, supposedly more left-wing, led by Kevin Rudd, did actually make a formal apology. This is kind of old news now. The apology happened a little while ago. The reason I bring it up now is this week John Howard has been in the US mouthing off about how great he is and how bad the guys who replaced him are, and how Rudd, the current Prime Minister, was wrong to make a formal apology, and how he was right to refuse to apologise for all those years. Alright, first things first. Fuck you, you bitter old bastard! Second, why do I think the apology was a good idea? Simply because it was a symbolic gesture that said, hey, guess what? There was a policy in place for a long time that was fucked. You can justify it as much as you want. There were definitely cases of children in danger. There are definitely cases today of children in danger. But the policy was based on racism. Pure and simple. The idea that the white fellas could tell the black fellas what to do. In all honesty, in a lot of cases, that was probably true. But tearing families apart, not my idea of a productive way to go about making things better. And let me just say that the protestations coming from the Conservative end of the spectrum, they're bullshit in the highest order. I almost cannot believe these two-faced bastards will sit around saying the apology was wrong because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't solve the problems. Like these pricks care! No, an apology doesn't solve the problem, but it's an important symbolic step to say, sorry, let's work together now to make things better. And one other thing that shits me about people who say we shouldn't have said sorry, they go, oh, it was the past. Let's see, John Howard was part of a government that perpetuated this policy. This practice of children being taken away from their families happened to people who are younger than me. This is not the past, okay? This is the here and now, and we need to live together, and just making a symbolic statement is a good first step to getting over these things that happened in the past. And just finally, why did I bother to tell you how Australia's parliamentary system worked? Simple. I want to gloat because John Howard's pissing me off. Now, when he was in government, that meant his party, which is actually a coalition of city-based and country-based Conservatives, they had the most seats, which meant they were in control. The fact that he lost the election means, of course, a significant number of his party got voted out, so the party that were opposition, Labor, now have the majority. They form government. That would have been bad enough. He got beaten soundly. But he suffered the ultimate humiliation. In my mind, the perfect payback for his arrogance. He actually lost his seat. A first-timer, a former journalist, ran against him and beat him. That sort of humiliation, a sitting Prime Minister losing their seat in an election, has only happened once. So, here's where I pick a fight. All you John Howard supporters out there, ha fucking ha!